Hercules, a true hero. Hercules! Slow down! Amphitryon yelled to his teenage son, who was pulling their cart to the market. Their donkey had hurt its ankle, and Hercules had volunteered to lead them the rest of the way. The boy had always been unnaturally strong, so the cart didn't seem heavy. In fact, he was so excited about helping that he was actually running. "Look out!" Amphitryon called again. His son was headed straight for a marble archway that was under construction. Because Hercules didn't understand how strong he really was, his attempts to be helpful often turned into disaster. "Whoa!" yelled the workman as Hercules sped through the archway, accidentally knocking them into the air. Hercules came to a screeching halt in the center of the market. He looked over his shoulder at the workmen who were hanging from the archway. "Oops," he said sheepishly. "Sorry, guys." "Heads up!" a voice yelled suddenly. Hercules looked up and saw a discus flying through the air. "I got it," he called. He leaped into the air and caught it, but the force propelled him right into a pillar. Smack! The pillar began to shake. Swayed. It uttered. Then it hit another pillar. In seconds, all the pillars came crashing down like a set of dominoes. The townspeople were furious. "That boy is a menace. He's too dangerous to be around normal people," they insisted. Hercules felt horrible. If only he could learn to control his strength. If only he could fit in. That evening, Amphitryon and his wife, Alcmene, decided to tell Hercules the truth. They weren't his real parents. They'd discovered him when he was a baby and raised him as their own. Amphitryon handed Hercules a medallion. "This was around your neck when we found you," he said. It had a thunderbolt on it, the symbol of the gods. Hercules wanted to know more about his past. The next morning, he left for the temple of Zeus. He hoped he'd be able to learn whether or not he was related to any of the gods. Once Hercules arrived at the temple, he stood before the giant statue of Zeus. Suddenly, a thunderbolt hit the statue, and a great stone hand reached down and scooped Hercules up. "My boy, my little Hercules," Zeus said. Hercules' eyes widened. Zeus, the most powerful of all gods, was his father. "Didn't know you had a famous father, did you?" Zeus asked. Sadly, Zeus explained that as a baby, Hercules had been stolen and turned into a human. Hercules' super strength was the only godlike quality he still had. "If you can prove yourself a true hero on Earth, your godhood will be restored," Zeus told him. "Seek out Philoctetes, the trainer of heroes." With that, Zeus gave a whistle, and a winged horse flew into the temple. It was Pegasus, who had been given to Hercules when he was born. Hercules jumped on his back. "I won't let you down, father," he declared. That night, Hercules and Pegasus flew to Philoctetes' home. He was a satyr, a half-goat, half-man, with a reputation for turning ordinary men into extraordinary heroes. "I need your help," Hercules said. "I want to become a hero, a true hero." "Sorry, kid," Philoctetes replied. "Can't help you." "Why not?" asked Hercules. "I'm too old," the satyr told him. "But if I don't become a true hero, I'll never be able to rejoin my father Zeus," said Hercules. "Zeus is your father?" Philoctetes asked, chuckling. He wasn't convinced at all. Zeus fired a lightning bolt at him. "You win," the satyr told Hercules. Philoctetes, or Phil as Hercules liked to call him, spent a lot of time training Hercules to become a hero. There were many things Hercules needed to learn. Rule number 6. When rescuing a damsel, always handle with care, instructed Phil. He tied a doll to a stake and set a fire around it. Hercules charged in and safely snatched the doll, then ran across a tree that had fallen over a stream. He had almost made it. When he tripped, the doll fell into the water. Rule number 95. Concentrate, Phil coached. He set up a row of targets for Hercules' next lesson. Hercules threw one sword after another, missing all the targets, and nearly hitting Phil. Rule number 96. Aim, Phil said, annoyed. After many days and a lot of practice, Hercules succeeded with all of his hero lessons. He had grown into a strong, muscular man. Finally, Hercules felt he was ready to test his strength in the real world. He just had to convince Phil. "I want to battle some monsters, rescue some damsels," Hercules said. "You know, heroic stuff." Eventually, Phil agreed. Okay. You want a road test? Saddle up, kid. We're going to Thebes. It's a good place to start building a reputation." On the way, they heard a cry for help. Following the sound, they found a centaur, a half-man, half-horse, holding a girl in his powerful grip. "Now remember, kid, first analyze the situation," began Phil. "Don't just barrel in there without thinking." But Hercules was already rushing toward the centaur. Using his massive strength, he rammed into the beast headfirst. The centaur crashed into a waterfall. Bam! Hercules sent the creature flying with a forceful punch. His first battle had been a success. Hercules and Phil flew on to Thebes, a city with a lot of troubles. Hercules asked around, eager for a chance to be a hero. But nobody took him seriously. "We need a professional hero, not an amateur," a woman told him. Hercules was frustrated. "How am I supposed to prove myself a hero if nobody will give me a chance?" he asked Phil. Soon, Hercules heard that two boys were trapped in a rockslide just outside of town. He and Pegasus flew toward the boys, eager to save them. Once he got there, Hercules lifted a giant boulder and freed the trapped children. They were safe. Onlookers clapped and cheered. Hercules had saved the day. There was no time to celebrate, though. A terrible monster called the Hydra was emerging from a nearby cave. And it was hungry. With a massive head and sharp claws, it went after Hercules. Hercules ran right and left, successfully avoiding the Hydra's attempts to bite him. "That's it. Dance around," called Phil from a safer distance. "Watch the teeth. Watch the teeth." With a grunt, Hercules flung a huge chunk of rock at the monster. No luck. The Hydra simply crunched it between its enormous teeth. Hercules slashed at the monster with his sword. But when he cut off its head, many more grew back. The more heads he chopped off, the more appeared. Soon there were dozens. "Phil, I don't think we covered this one in basic training," Hercules yelled. Then the Hydra trapped Hercules in one of its claws. Hercules slammed his arms against a cliff wall with all his might. Crack! Within seconds the wall broke apart. Huge boulders tumbled down, killing the monster at once. Hercules was overjoyed. "You did it, kid," cheered Phil. "You won by a landslide." The townspeople rushed over and hoisted Hercules on their shoulders. He was a celebrity. Most important, he was well on his way to becoming a true hero. End.